What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of 892. This is, of course, the feature film directorial debut of Damaris Corbin. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button as well as comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So 892 is of course based off a true story. It's about an individual named Brian Brown Easley, who is of course played by John Boyega in this movie. And Brian Brown Easley was an individual that was dealing with some serious PTSD problems. He was getting disability checks, but one day he was denied disability, and for some particular reason, it's not really explained. But in essence, he decides he's going to go to a bank to make a statement, so therefore he brings a bomb, and he holds a couple of people hostage. And what this movie does, it kind of unfolds what Brian Brown Easley was going through in a mental state, but also kind of how he got his message out to the world, which of course, if you know the story or if you watch the news articles, you kind of know it unfortunately ended tragically for this individual. But the whole story is about how, in essence, we are treated as individuals that deal with some serious problems, and especially, you know, in certain communities and so on and so forth. So it's that type of movie. And so this movie premiered at Sundance. It actually, I believe, won the jury award for Best Ensemble, which, you know, I'll talk about in a second, but I actually agree with. It's a movie that I was kind of looking forward to. I knew that John Boyega was doing this, a true story movie about this guy. I'd heard about the story before, kind of a big story about PTSD and so on and so forth. But, you know, in the state that we live in right now, with the world the way it is, a movie like this is very prescient in its nature, and I understand why a movie like this got made, because, you know, if you look at the world and how it presents itself, it's very much failing a lot of people who have serious mental issues, who have had serious problems. So I was actually looking forward to seeing, you know, what this first-time director could do. And then of course it premiered at Sundance, garnered pretty favorable reviews, and so I was able to see it before the official Sundance was ending. There's another film I'm going to review as well. And so for my overall review of this film, kind of what I thought about it, you know, it's a film that I really enjoyed. It's a film that, it gives you a lot of emotional impact. But I think it's a film that it struggles sometimes with this kind of overall story narrative. I think it moves too quickly. I think it's a film that could have been a little bit longer, because there's points where it just kind of moves from one piece to the other, and it doesn't really kind of settle where it needs to. And then when it does try to settle, it's not as impactful as it is. But what I think really works about this film is actually the actors that are in this film, the cast, and the kind of material that they're giving. I think John Boyega, as the main character, he is doing some really interesting stuff in this movie. He's actually on a different level than what you've seen before in anything he's ever been in, you know, whether it be Star Wars or, of course, the Attack the Block and stuff like that. I think this is a performance that really kind of gets you into the nuts and bolts of how deeply disturbed this individual was, but how much he was at his ends, you know, wit's ends with everything he was trying to deal with, you know, whether it be the PTSD problems that he had, or the fact that he wasn't getting what he was supposed to be getting, and just having to deal with his family and having to deal with the stress of, you know, having the bomb, and he was not worried about being killed and stuff like that. And you have kind of our surrogates, which are played by Nicole Beharie and Selenis, who play the bank tellers, the ones that stay out behind, and you can really get a sense that they're starting to slowly, as the movie plays along, understand his plight, but they still need to protect themselves. They still have families, and they're worried about him setting off the bomb. So you kind of see the kind of struggle they have to go through in this movie. And I think out of the two characters, I think Nicole Beharie gives the most interesting performance of just kind of the uncomfortable nature of what they had to deal with. Now, when it gets into the police stuff, you have, of course, Michael K. Williams in his last performance giving a pretty interesting performance. He's the guy that, you know, is a negotiator, and he's really, you know, connecting with the character that is Brian's character, the John Boyega character. But I think the problem that I find is, like I said, with the storytelling, he's a character that really feels for this individual, and you can tell, even though he's doing his job, but he's getting no communication with his people. They're constantly in his way. You know, eventually ends to the point where he's trying to rescue this guy, but there's, you know, the side thing. If you ever look at the movie The Negotiators, there's always two sides to these police stories. And it really feels like he is an individual that's really trying to do something, and these guys are just trying to end the situation, which, you know, is what happens and what you need to do. But it's a really interesting kind of dichotomy to watch what Michael K. Williams is doing. I just, like I said, because the movie's so short, I wish they would give him more meat and more material, because he doesn't feel as fleshed out. He feels just kind of a side character and so on and so forth. But I think in the end, when it comes down to, the overall take of the movie, I think it's a movie with a great message, a great story, great acting, and character dynamics and development. But I think it just struggles under the fact that it needs to tell a story in an hour 45 minutes, and there could be so much there. You could bump it up to 2 hours, and I think it would have made the movie much more strong and much more impactful. Go a little more deep into the way the government works on his end and stuff like that. But I think in the end, I think it's still a movie worth watching. I'm not sure when it's going to come out because there's no trailer, and I don't think it's been bought by anybody yet at this point. But when this movie comes out, I think it's worth a watch, and it'd be interesting to see if John Boyega gets some Oscar consideration in 2023, which I'm assuming is when this movie gets closer to releasing. So, but with that said, that's going to be my overall take on this film, 892. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below if you watched this film at Sundance. What do you think of it overall? Are you looking forward to this movie either way? But anyways, let me know. And that'll do it. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.